GRC Carla Veloso is an item I'm really interested in reviewing. I'm super excited to get a new Carla Veloso variant, but as far as the GRC cars go, Carla has been one of my least favorites since I first saw her. I just feel like she's not all that different from her original diecast, and I wish she were a bit more different like some of the other GRC cars are. I was a little let down after reviewing her mini racer, and so I'm not the most excited going into reviewing her 155 scale diecast, or I wouldn't be if it weren't for something else. You see, this is the exact same way I felt about Miguel Camino's GRC variant. I thought he was too similar to the original, and I was pretty disappointed when I reviewed the Mini, but when I reviewed his 155 scale item, while I still did think he had a few too many similarities and not enough changes to the design, I ended up really liking him and all the changes that they did make. And that's what makes me interested to take a look at Carla here. Last time there was a GRC car I didn't really like. When I took a closer look at its 155 scale release, I ended up really liking it, and I want to see if the same thing happens for Carla. You see, the thing is, with GRC cars, while on the surface, some of them might look pretty similar to their regular releases, when you look closer, you'll notice a whole ton of subtle differences that come together to make the car quite a bit more unique. And just looking at these two Carlas side by side, I can already see some of the unique changes made to this item that I think are going to make me like it quite a bit. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another review and to another 2025 Cars Diecast review. Today, we're going to be taking a look at GRC Carla Veloso. I say 2025 because this is her 2025 re-release. Due to the terrible distribution situation in the US last summer, I never got my hands on 2024 GRC Carla. She never made it to my stores, so luckily I did end up finding her 2025 release, I want to say back in maybe December. Now I'm very excited to be reviewing it here. We've got some nice artwork of Carla here, of course, edited from her original Cars 2 art, and it showcases the first interesting choice with this Carla Veloso. The green on her is really smooth, right? I thought at first that was I don't know, a choice made on the diecast that was just less detailed. I don't know. I thought maybe it was a Thailand paint thing. But you see, when you look at regular Carla here, she has a lot of these really complex details, a lot of these kind of speckle patterns on her, all over her. And yeah, I thought it was weird to see that not on this version of the diecast. I thought it was just Mattel kind of skimping out on the details and not giving her as much, but no, it seems completely intentional. It's a completely intentional design choice. You can see the green on Carla is missing those parts. Actually, all of Carla is missing those parts, and all those speckles have been kind of replaced with the hexagon pattern that we see on all the GRC cars. So everything with the GRC is deliberate. Even things that might seem like them cutting corners, no, those were intentional design choices, as proven here by the artwork. And I think that's just amazing. The GRC cars are all just so insanely well detailed. I can't complain about anything. Think about it, guys. This is the expanded universe toy line that made a more accurate Miguel Camino than the original Miguel Camino. The GRC, I think, has to be one of the best designed toy lines we've ever gotten in the Cars Diecast line. We got GRC number 8 there, GRC logos, all the stuff you're used to seeing. On the back, we got McQueen and Carla, the first two GRC re-releases of 2025. That's why it's just the two of them. Now, if you're wondering what's going on here, why the camera is so much more zoomed in than usual, funny story there. You see, usually I put my next review off to the side, right, kind of hang it up on the wall, but my next review is Gil, and I didn't really have a good way to display that. Kind of looks like a support beam now. Just ignore him, okay? He's the next review. Just let him be over there. We're going to take a closer look at Carla here. Now, here is GRC Carla Veloso out of the package, and while I am impressed that the choice with the green was intentional, I will say I'm not the biggest fan of the shade of green they chose with her. I don't know if this coloring was intentional, but going off the artwork, I think she is supposed to have a bit of a different green than the original. I just much prefer that original Carla green. This one doesn't look as strong or vibrant to me. I don't know, I just prefer that original green color, but seeing her have a bit of a different shade of green is interesting here. And again, I assume it's a deliberate choice and not just you know, her, not just Mattel using a slightly different green. I assume, unless that was the case, I'm not entirely sure. She does have a bit of a slightly different expression, which is nice. Although then again, it might just be kind of Thailand's attempt to recreate that original face. I don't know. Most of the GRCs do have unique faces, and it looks like she's making a bit of a more determined eyebrow expression than the happier expression here. Something really cool they did with her was take all these designs on the original and fill them with that familiar GRC hexagon pattern. You can see all these designs on her hood have been replaced, or at least most of them have. Some of them didn't carry over, but most of the general shapes are here now in yellow with those hexagons highlighting them, which is super cool. Not only does she have a lighter green, she also has a lighter blue that you can see there from the bumper. And moving on to the side, we have that really nice intricate pattern that Carla has always had, although kind of redrawn here and proportioned a bit differently, and also kind of recolored. On the side, we have a completely changed side, something a lot of these cars do. It does seem to be pretty heavily inspired by the original with some of these intricate patterns, but unlike the rest of her, those patterns aren't the same. Instead, we have some general yellow shapes with some sort of floral design patterns inside of them, which looks really nice. GRC logo there, GRC 8 number emblem as well. I love how all the GRC cars have these unique different colored wheels. Carla's are yellow, which highlights her perfectly with all the yellow accents on her. Although I will say it is interesting, these wheels are quite a bit different. Here, the backs are completely hollow, but here they're blue. Was this a change made to more recent Carlas? Or is this just the GRC doing something unique? If you have a Carla, a more recent one, a Thailand Carla, definitely let me know in the comments. This is a 2014 single, is my Carla Veloso. Like so many GRC cars do, Carla has this really nice fading color scheme, going from a lighter blue to a darker blue, and to a lesser extent, the green does kind of fade into blue quite a bit, which is pretty nice. We have these secondary sponsors that a lot of these cars here have. Ravioli, Petrola Oil. I think one of them says Rev. There's another one I can't quite make out, but all of those Cars 2 Italian sponsors that appear in the background that they decided to lift for the GRC. Really nice attention to detail and world building, in my opinion. But yeah, really, really nice blue here with the complex designs and everything. Then we move on to what I think is easily the best part of this entire diecast, the spoiler. This spoiler is incredibly striking with this vibrant yellow color scheme that matches the other yellow highlights on Carla really, really well. And while I usually don't like spoilers that aren't the color of the rest of the car's body, here it works perfectly because, again, we have those yellow highlights all throughout, and also it's covered in a ton of blue decals that make it flow really naturally with the rest of Carla. There's not much yellow on here, despite the plastic piece itself being yellow. The hexagon pattern is really well carried over. Of course, it's not like a perfect match. It's not like it ends here and continues here, but they do match up really well with some additional yellow highlights, and the spoiler itself looks fantastic with the GRC and these very nice Carla Veloso inspired details. This is one of my favorite spoilers ever on a Cars diecast. That's an insanely strange compliment, but man, this might be my favorite spoiler of all time. It sounds so dumb to say, but I'm serious. It looks really incredible, I think. The back has more of that hexagon pattern, as well as Global Racers Cup text, very small and thin. I actually almost missed it. Jeez, I almost dropped her. In place of those little swoop patterns on the back. Yeah, props to them. The original Carla didn't even write World Grand Prix stuff on the back because there's not enough space. Here they slipped a logo in there. That's pretty cool. Then we move on to the other side, which seems pretty much identical. I don't think she has an asymmetrical design or anything. And then finally, there is a look at that base. So just like a lot of the GRC cars, while at first glance, these two Carlas may seem pretty similar, the GRC has an absolute ton of really nice, great details that sets her apart from the original. My only complaint about this item now, after looking at it closer, is that shade of green. I really don't like it. I think it's just kind of an ugly shade of green to use here. If she had that same green color from the original, I think this would be one of the best GRCs. But, you know, if I were to rank them, I'd probably put Carla towards the middle. All of the decals and details and designs are great. I just don't really like the color they went with for her. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think about this item in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye now. Now time to get Gil out of there.